They'll be calling you a radical. Before I start this art form of mine and we talk about this, this is my official protest to Obama's visit to Japan. There's going to be a lot of activists protesting in Japan tomorrow, as they're 16 hours earlier than we are. And so he's going to stand at Hiroshima, and the Fukushima protesters are going to be out. Now, we won't see it here. Of course we won't see it here, but they're going to be out because I've gotten third-party, fourth-party emails. First up, before I start this, we've lost our bravest, best angel, our best fighter, our little 5-year-old Molly, who has fought with our group as she got acute A.L.L. She lived right over here. I got to know her through the Light the Night walk, and her group, and her auntie, her beautiful auntie, who was one of my nurses. You know, this whole group of us that got leukemia in Weaver County at the same time. I got sick in the fall of 2011. It's going to give you a leukemia thing. Gail, my friend, lived right here. Of course, Paul, he got the same time as me. We grew up right here. He grew up right here with me. You know, Carla lived right there. Terry lived right there. A huge group of us. Molly got it when she was 2. I think she was 2. Marshall, you know, got all the publicity in the press. I love Marshall. He was in the room next to me. He was the first guy to get the HIV. Molly had the same as he, A.L.L. 2. She was born in the fall of 2010. I'm sure our hospital and primaries and everybody's just totally, I'm sure they're completely wiped out, broke down today. Her obituary's in the paper today. She was 5. She was amazing. That's all anybody ever talked about. I've been pretty strong through all this. I've almost become numb to death. You know, this leukemia fight post-Fukushima, as you know. So many of my close ones have died, you know, because I'm in that circle, in that group, and Light in the Night, I participate, I get involved. I'm not one of these people that, oh, I got lucky, got out, and then, oh no, I give back. I want to be part of this family. You know, so I could here to tell you that all you people that have lost loved ones, it only takes the good. It only takes the healthy. It only takes the amazing. That's who it kills. Takes, and they don't lose, they win. So, you know, I will never forget her. I think a lot of people will never forget her. You know, I know a lot of the nurses and the doctors that I participate in this community, in this family of ours. The leukemia survivor family, the leukemia fight family here, our family. You know, I'm sure there'll be a major group raising money in her name down there. Everybody knew her. Everybody knew her fight. Everybody talked about her fight. You know, they don't lose. They don't lose. So as Obama visits Hiroshima, should he apologize? Yeah, for Fukushima. He wasn't born. He wasn't alive when those bombs should have never been dropped. And anybody that says they should have, you know, that was all flexing muscle against, you know, Russia. Oppenheimer said, why don't you take out Hirohito? Why don't you kill him? Whatever. So I want people to know there are going to be tens of thousands of people protest Obama tomorrow on Fukushima. Tens of thousands all over. They've already started. I've already seen photos start to come out. So it'll be Thursday here when he's standing there, just like it was March 10th, the night there when it hit California. We did that to time it exactly. As you know, the one great activist took a can of waste, which there wasn't even any waste in it, and he used a drone and he flew it onto the emperor's house. They're still a royal family, and well, maybe you don't know. You know, the royals, the Hirohito left stand. So I'm going to do my protest at the exact same time, and I'll get the timing down. I think I'll go out to the Enola Gay hangar tomorrow, and I'm going to do my protest there, as I have protested there, because that's when it flew out, stopped on the island, loaded the bomb. Should have never happened. And all you people saying, oh, it should have. Ignorance, you can go along with the hyperbole. Truman was a rat. He was a puppet rat. Just like Obama, he's the greatest, evilest, sick puppet. He needs to not apology, he needs to be arrested. He needs to be arrested for the cover-up of Fukushima. Now let's talk about this. Now, I knew this from the early days. I got lots of emails, you know, Hillary's emails. Here, Rover, go get the Benghazi stick. When we know it was all the cover-up of Fukushima, the cover-up of Fukushima. Got to talk to Kissinger, you know. Don't go outside, you know, Hama, her, freaking, I mean, the whole nightmare. So, they meet inside the Situation Room. The Admiral, 32 ships have already been sent into Japan to evacuate all the military personnel and civilians. The Admiral's words, not mine. They're again, they want to entomb. They've got mitigation. They're ready to entomb. And now you think about this. As they've come out yesterday, TEPCO themselves comes out yesterday and says there are millions of pounds of nuclear fission waste we can't even get near. We don't even know where it's at, whatever. This is TEPCO themselves admitting. So why would this be allowed to go on and genocide the Pacific Ocean? Why would this be allowed to plume over the North America just slaughter? Why would they be allowed 30 million bags just to keep scooping up? And all you people that say that none of the workers have killed, I know for a fact over 10,000 workers are dead. They use the marginalized, they use, you know, whatever they can find, and the mob runs it. One of the nastiest, meanest mobs in the world, the Japanese mob. They run the show over there. And so there's been lots of urns found by journalists all over Buddhist temples with, they just burn their bodies immediately. They're being dug up and whole, I mean, there's well over 10,000 of them that are dead already. You know, oh yeah, remember the Fukushima 50, that dog and pony show, remember? I reported early because his mom told me he got cancer from the cleanup and he died, you know, in 2013. No, it's not killed anyone. That's why there's a gag order. That's why they put the people I used to do interviews with from academia that are sitting in prison cells. That's why there's a, I mean, you think about it, just that part of it alone. You can't get video, just like the media blackout, the cover-up of Fukushima, the marine biologists who stand down. Look, the Pacific Ocean is dying, and everybody that go in denial about it, you know, the tide pools are dying. The freaking wells are washing up freaking dead. You know, wow. So, I'll do my official protest. Anybody wants to go with me tomorrow morning, I'll leave tomorrow morning, and I'll time it when I video it, and I'll hold up my phone so we know it's the exact time. I'll try to publish it at the exact moment that Obama's standing at Hiroshima. Now, the cover-up in the nuclear thesis started with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Now, the Japanese royal family, evil, oh fuck, please. The Bataan Death March, what they did to the Filipinos, what they did to the freaking Chinese, what they did to the Koreans forever is beyond hideous, but it sure wasn't the Japanese people. You know, isn't that the way it is? The people, it's just like us here in the United States. There's a big group of, not all of us, you know, wanted to go with, along with the slaughtering, how nice they invented ISIS, slaughtering the Iraqis. So many people fought hard. You know, it's not representative of the people. It's this group of globalist leaders, these puppets, this stupid puppet called Obama. You know, I hope he gets freaking cancer while he's over there. I hope it gets into his eyes, between his ears, and I hope it doesn't kill him. I just hope it makes him suffer really hard for the rest of his life. I hope he gets it so bad in his tongue, in his mouth, in his throat, out behind his eyes. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a wicked, wicked, brutal, painful disease. For this little girl to have to go through this, and her young, precious, beautiful life. Her mom, you know, in the OB talked about what a brilliant mind she had, and her memory, you know, she's there now to protect our 5-year-old. She's there to protect all of us, our little grandchildren and children now, because, you know, our government's not going to protect us. The EPA's not going to protect us. The marine biologists aren't going to protect us. NOAA's not going to protect us. Nobody, because we have integrity. Everybody goes along with this slaughter and this mass murder. So, you know, I'll bring my well. We'll put him in the Enola Gay hangar. I have permission. You know, I've hung my art in there. You know, it's like a 5-year-old made it. 5-year-old did make it. My precious little grandchildren who were born right after. You know, she's there to protect all them now. You know, as the angels, they watch out over us. So anybody who wants to go, I'll ride out there tomorrow. And hopefully that a lot of people can participate worldwide and protest Obama. Stand at Hiroshima, and you people that are all gung-ho and saying, oh, I should have dropped 3. Gotta tell you anything, you're assholes, number 1. FDR dropped dead. They met in Eye of Tehran, Churchill, Stalin, FDR in 43. You know, in 45 when they're melting Yalta, dividing up the world, they knew the Russians had it. Andrei Sakharov, You know, they knew they had it. And these hard-ons freaking says, look, the Russians, and they go crazy. And they do it without, Oppenheimer said himself, don't do it, don't do it. You know, kill the emperor. The emperor was allowed to live. Why? And the royal family did all this evil. The royal family still stands. We protested in front of the MoMA at the exact moment that Prince William was in Fukushima, supposedly. You know, so they're important pieces of art. We'll record history. We'll record it. You know, and the sheep and the goats and the fainting, they're not going to see it now. But these are historical times. Incredible history. This is a historical event tomorrow. And should he apologize? Yeah, for the cover-up of Fukushima. Only one man has the power on Earth to make the United States military state. The greatest force on Earth, the United States Navy. There's no force greater, stronger. They radiated their own troops. You know, I'm the only activist that's been down. Well, Libby showed up the next year. Bill B, Lori. But the first year, I'm the only activist there. They had a Little League football sleepover camp on the USS Reagan. They radiated those people. The Chargers practiced on it, you know. It's evil what they did. And only one man has the power, that puppet. He listened to John Holdren. Now, you can look into John Holdren, head of the science technology, the 32 team that's in charge of the cleanup of Fukushima. He wrote books about eugenics. He's a eugenicist. You know, look it up. I mean, that's just not opinion, that's just fact. So, there's only one logical reason why they come out yesterday. We're talking 1900 and 2 days later. They come out yesterday and says, it's ongoing, it's a catastrophe, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, worse. We have no answers. When the world could go in, descend on this, why don't they? End the nuclear industry? Or is it eugenics, or do they fully intend to kill the Pacific Ocean, which they have? Salmon go to sea for 5 years. You know, they were expecting 1.2 million over the Bonnevilles. It's in total collapse. Total collapse, and NOAA's like, we're not going to say anything. Total collapse. You know, I have insiders all over Oregon, Washington. Total collapse. They've emergency closed the whole thing. 125 freaking salmon over the Bonneville when they were expecting 1.2 million. You know, the derbies are not catching any fish. Nobody's catching any fish. It's a catastrophe. It's a collapse. The tide pools have collapsed. UC Berkeley puts out a thing on the collapse. When I'm walking the 15, puts photographs before and after. Of course they won't say, but it's unarguable that the Pacific Ocean's in collapse. It's unarguable that these cancers, 2011, 2012, 13, just hammered the Rocky Mountain region of the United States and just killed so many. This is our group. I'm the only one alive out of our freaking group. You know, our beautiful nurse, Caitlin, you know, her auntie was one of her own nurses she got breast cancer after, you know. Caitlin's mom, one of my PAs. And I want to say this to the nurses, the primary children's. You go to my page and you look at that beautiful bald-headed girl that's got my arm around her, Allison. She was in primary children's fighting this. Nobody survived. She had acute blastic leukemia, too young. Younger and younger. She's alive. 6 years. Caitlin, one of my PAs, her mom, who lived right over here, Linda, she got it. I mean, think about it. Your mom shows up in there. Same with, you know, this girl's auntie shows up, and, you know. I don't know how they do it. I don't know emotionally how they do it. But they're fantastic people. Now, the administrators, that's another thing. You know, the doctors, for the most part, are wonderful, but... So, I will time it. It'll be a historic event, and I know for a fact there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people protesting Obama in Japan tomorrow as they stand there on the Hiroshima thesis. Oh my God, they should have never dropped those bombs. As Oppenheimer said, let's stop a scare bomb. Let's share it with freaking the Russians. That was the deal at Yalta by the Sea, but FDR dropped dead. Churchill weaseled in, and they did what they did. Slaughter the people, take out the emperor. The emperor lived, well, how old was he? 24 then? You know, he lived to be an old man. The royals, Obama's making the royal rounds, but he should be immediately arrested in Japan. Immediately. Japan is a toxic hellhole from Fukushima. It used to be worse to live here and in California and in New York than Tokyo, but not now, as it's been able to go on because they've been digging up all the waste and just putting all, there's 30 million one-ton bags. I talk to people that go on, anybody's traveling there's out of their mind. Olympics at 20, any athletes point there's out of their mind. They're ignorant. And the media that's gone along with it, the marine biologists, they're treasonous rats who are mass murderers. These guys that have gone along, their inaction is an action. Their inaction is an action. They've killed people like Molly. They've killed people like Paul. They've killed Tracy. They've killed, it's unarguable. Nuclear fallout is in the atmosphere, spiked all over. And I want to say this about the fire up in McMurkin, Canada. You could see there's one detection. You know how far north you are? I mean, the really great white north. There's one radiation detecting on the network that is right next Fort Mac, and now it's being reported that there's an old Manhattan Project waste dump. You know, the Canada was experimenting with dumping up there, and it's burned. The one hot detector would confirm that that's true. There's only one up there, dish, and it's online. I'll post it online. It's lit up like a Christmas tree. The only one in Canada right now. So, and it's all the way up there north. So you Europeans are going to get some more. So I hope everybody participates in the protest of Obama tomorrow. He shouldn't. Should he apologize? He didn't do that. He should be arrested immediately. He did do, I mean, I don't know when you're going to wake up in this country. This is the commander-in-chief. This is the president. If this happened to that scumbag Bush, that mass murder dumb puppet, if this happened on his watch, Flint, Michigan, BP, Porter Ranch, all these, he would be crucified. Why does this guy get a freaking pass? He goes and drinks water, Flint, Michigan. I mean, this guy's a stupid puppet. But he, under the advice of John Holdren, and I know what happened in the situation for a fact, told the Navy to stand down. Go ahead and just continue to irradiate the people of Japan. Continue to, so why would they continue to just let this go on? And you could see by this report out of TEPCO yesterday, they have no handle on this. Why on God's green earth would they freaking let this go on for 9 and just slaughter murder? There's only a couple answers. You know, eugenics. Of course they're protecting the nuclear cartel and they're looting on the way out door, but this is evil or not. Why would they want to kill the Pacific Ocean? Why would they want to kill us all? Wow. I mean, you run this through your mind logically. Why is not the world descending on there? Why is it not the Navy? Why is it not the Navy? Because the commander-in-chief, that's the only power this guy has, and he flexed it. He made him stand down. I know for a fact he did. I know for a fact. When are you going to come out of denial and pin this guy, bury Antoinette, let them eat yellow cake? When is going to, and I voted for the rat the first time. What a fool I was on that. When is he going to be called? Well, he'll be called out in history. He will be called out in history. This is the greatest event in human history. The greatest crime against humanity, against the sea, against our children, against the unborn children, against the future. The greatest crime in human history. Fukushima? No. Fukushima Gate, the cover-up. So I'll be doing my gig at the NOLA Gay hangar tomorrow, where that plane flew out. I'll stand right in Tippett's office. I'll stand right there. As it should have never happened. Should have took out the emperor. You know, Germany was already done. It was over. You know, they knew the Russians had it. So the Tsar bomb, so we go boom, 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 the Cold War, 350 open air tests. Marched my father into the Nevada test site, drafted Marine from right here. Human lab rat, their own Marines. My mom never got a medal. It's coming up on Memorial Day. We have a memorial at the cemetery for him. And then his son gets AML leukemia. Just coincidence. So I'll post it at the exact same time, and good luck to all the protesters in Japan. And I know there's going to be a lot of them, and we won't see it, but we'll try to get photos. We'll try to get bootleg video out. We'll try to get stuff out. Stand strong, you know. Us as activists in the United States, the activists in Taiwan, the activists in South Korea, the activists in China, the activists in Vienna, Austria, the activists in Budapest, the activists in Germany, we stand united on this, together. We're with you in Japan. We think about you all day, every day. You know, we love you and we care about you, and we are not Barack Obama, and this military mass murder that they're doing to you is heartbreaking. We'll be protesting by your side with our social media sites, whatever we can use. So, stay tuned.